Yeah. Scottie Pippen, your boy Scottie Pippen. All right, so
Yo boy, Scottie Pippen.
hey, yeah, yeah, dude.
Yo boy.
Scotty, I'm telling you, he putting his whole life in that book. So we gotta pull up. I'm gonna pull up that. See if it's gonna let me pull up. Oh, all right, yeah, all right. So we're gonna share it again. All right, let me pull up that article and get some of these excerpts because your boy Scotty is he wilding. So this is there's a few excerpts that I kind of wanted to kind of talk about tonight. This is gonna be a part of Scottie Pippen's book that's coming out, I think, Tuesday. So one of the quotes from it, if you're able to see, fellas, y'all able to see that? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So each episode, and this is him talking about the Last Dance documentary. Each episode was the same. Michael on a pedestal. Don't laugh. I see you laughing, Malcolm. His teammates secondary, smaller. The message no different from when he referred to us as his supporting cast. The glorified Michael Jordan, while not giving nearly enough praise to me and my proud teammates, Pippen wrote, Michael deserved a large portion of the blame. The producer had granted him editorial control of the final product. The doc couldn't have been released otherwise. He was the leading man and the director. All right, and then also he said that he could. Okay, let me go back to it. So he said during the documentary, Jordan called Pippen his best teammate of all time. And then Pippen said he couldn't have been more condescending if he tried. Pippen wrote. Oh, that's a great picture.
I'm saying, hey Mike, what's wrong with you? I think I got the COVID. I'm just messing with you. Go ahead.
Hey, yo, and then now this is how the interesting one of it, and this points out your boy LeBron Maui.
Hey
Well,
man, hold up, slow down.
Michael Michael was determined to prove to the current generation of his fans that he was larger than life during his day, and still larger than LeBron James, the player many consider his equal, if not superior. Pippen wrote. So, fellas, we got two interesting. I say I might add two interesting quotes from Scottie Pippen in his book that's coming out on Tuesday. Your thoughts on on Scottie Pippen and his critique on MJ? I'm gonna go with you first. Cool. What you got?
Well, the first thing that I thought when I first saw it, and then as I read those quotes, was a quote from a modern day rapper. You do anything for clout, right? That's the first thing that came to my mind. My thing is, was the documentary a little self-serving for Michael Jordan? Yeah. Was Michael Jordan the star of the team? Yeah. Do they win those championships without Michael Jordan? No. So I mean, what do you expect to happen, Scotty? Like you literally were Robin. I'm sorry that you're mad that you were Robin, but you were never Batman. You had an opportunity to be Batman, and you showed us that you were just an old Robin. You never were going to be Batman. I'm sorry that you're mad that you're never going to be Batman. And the man praised you as being his greatest teammate of all time, and you want to turn that into condescending. Um, to me, it's just one of those things where Scotty's out here trying to do whatever he can to sell his book, so he can try to get him some of that bread since he didn't get a lot of bread from Last Dance. I'm not mad at Mike. Do I feel like when I watch it that maybe he could have shown his teammates a little bit more love? Probably. But again, you're the director. It's about you. You're the star. You're the main attraction. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah, I agree. Maui, what you got?
You agree? Okay. I'm gonna keep it real. It's definitely clout, but it also might, it might be his truth. You know what I'm saying? I'm hoping that he goes on Vlad TV so I can see the full interview, see the full interview because I want to know everything from the rooter to the tutor. You know what I mean? I won't, but at the same time, somebody need to go to him and say, "You need to stop bitching. This is your fault." Don't if you really feel like Jordan was this way, don't be like Jordan then. Accept. the fact that you was the leader of the team. You had a dominant team,
Yeah.
and you went like stop being that dude that sat on the bench. We not even knocking some of the stuff that you saying. We most likely think it's true. To be honest with you, Jordan just being who he always was. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Like I'm telling you, if you watch Tiger Woods documentaries, Charles Barkley, you watch all these documentaries of back at that time. Michael Jordan somewhere nearby.
Right.
You
He
know what I
really
mean?
is.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just
Yep.
be real. But what I'm saying is, you have a decision to switch that. You being the same person that sat on that bench when Kukoc went out there, when y'all was um when Michael wasn't there. And let's be real. I remember the video of him wearing Jordans and telling Jordan to come back.
Mm-hmm.
I remember all that. You know what I'm saying? But stop being that dude. Be better than that. You Scottie Pippen. You really Michael ain't win nothing without you. And I don't understand why everybody don't want to give Phil Jackson his just due. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they ain't win nothing without Phil. But Scottie Pippen was one of the best all around players. I've heard people say today that he wasn't even good. Like he was bad. I'm like, nah, he was an all around player. You know what I mean? But and that's just my take. I just think he needs to grow up.
Yeah, and like to your point, where I mean, in
Go
his
ahead.
like you think about it now, present day. I mean, he would be a monster. Like I mean, he was kind of born. He was in this era of basketball. I think he would have been perfect for this day for today's game
Mm-hmm.
as a what we deem as a point forward. But like almost as Cool said, a musical. He did everything for Cloud. I would do a little old school. Scottie Pippen, that's my guy. But he's acting a lot like Otis and David Ruffin. Look, nobody came to see you, Otis.
They came to
They
see
Mm-hmm.
came to
David
see
Ruffin.
me. They came to see David
Right.
Ruffin. Like,
Right.
and that's where and the thing is, it's just like everything. It's almost just like it the documentary is a microcosm of their of their basketball of
Right.
just the whole Bulls dynamic where we knew Jordan was going to be the one that's the star that's going to key in, and then everybody plays their role, and you essentially played that role in that documentary. And
Right.
the thing is this where it did make Jordan come across as this, but it's just one of those things where it's like that's what comes with the territory of him being great. It's you see that in people of that magnitude.
Right.
And the thing that got me was Scotty, like you said. I mean, this stuff happened almost 25 years ago. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, seriously. So it's to a point where it's just like I know he's just doing this, like you said, for clout, for the
Yeah.
book, and for, to make the comments. But to me, I just think the whole thing of him saying that he's condescending and how he's not treating the teammates. But I'm like, what was he supposed to do? I mean, tell something that wasn't a real depiction of what
Right.
happened, because
Yeah.
it's really an autobiography. This is
Right.
stuff that we all
Yeah.
knew happened. So it's not like a situation where it's like a Boys in the Hood where certain aspects of it was kind of not Boys in the Hood. What's the thing? Strict.
Now, just
Anyway,
get rich or die trying. That's a good
or
example.
something like that. So yeah, right.
Yeah.
It wasn't more of an embellishment, like like
Right.
Right.
it was a part of 50 Cent
It-
life, but
Yeah.
there was still
Based
some
on.
right.
embellishment based
Yeah.
on loosely based on
Yeah.
his life. But this we have footage, we have things that happen, as far as news footage, like everything that happened with Scotty, the meltdown in '94. Like you talked about Maui, the whole thing about not drawing to play for Scotty, he drew to
Right.
play for Tony Kukoc.
Right.
That and then the whole holdout in '97 that kind of led to all that. So and the whole thing about the documentary as far as to pretty much put. I want to say that's for as far as to let people know that Jordan is the ish, and for LeBron, that's Jordan though. That's how
Right.
competitive Jordan is. Like if you
Right.
look at his Hall of Fame speech, it was awkward.
Right.
Even I don't think he included in this one, but I think he did like a press conference because that was the year that Michigan State and North Carolina played in the Final Four, and he was just talking so much trash about Michigan State. I was like, this is awkward. Like,
Yeah,
this
he's an
is your
asshole.
boy, but that's him though. But that's MJ
Yeah,
to a T. He's competitive,
yeah,
so
right,
that's why it's like I can understand the fact that he probably did want to kind of one up LeBron, and as far as that, because of just a simple fact of I want people to know I was the what back in the day, and look what I'm
right,
doing now. Because the thing is, from a numbers perspective, we already know the value that Jordan has, even 20 years after he has
right,
retired.
right.
He's outpacing everybody from a fiscal standpoint. So that's just a competitive nature of him. It's like I just want y'all to know I can dominate him in each and every facet of basketball. I can outdo anybody in this league, regardless,
Right.
past, present,
I
or future.
Because everybody looked, that documentary, it was a good documentary, but when you really sit back and look at it, like the only person to me that looked good was Phil Jackson. Everybody else looked real messed up, from Dennis Rodman. You know what I mean? Steve
Yeah,
Kerr looked good too, but Scottie Pippen, he didn't look good in the show. You know what I mean? He actually
yeah.
looked kind of, not smart. You know what I mean? And Jordan looked like a snitch. I really hate to say that. He was the snitchingest dude I ever seen in my life. I wouldn't want to play for him. I was like, you damn tattletale. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the whole
You
thing
know?
about when he first started, the whole cocaine and women thing,
Yeah.
because, and I think he could have left that out, but that was a part of NBA in the 80s. It
I
was
know you so silly, Reed. He was like, I know,
drugs,
man. You
sex,
could
and
have
rock
left
and
that out.
roll.
Yeah, but I'm
He could have,
even the young players, he was like, man, where was you at last night? I'm like, looking like, Mike, the camera right there. What did you,
Right.
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Do your parents
But you
know
know
where you
what
at?
though?
Nigga, do your parents, you know?
Mhm.
I do respect the fact from Jordan that he put it all in there, right? So Scotty tried to
Mm-hmm.
spin a narrative like Mike just put the things that made him look good. Mike put everything in there. Like
He
you
Right.
put
said, he put
everything
down how
in
he was a
it.
snitch. You know what I'm saying? He put down how he
A
was a
bully.
jerk. Yeah, how
Yeah.
he bullied some of the teammates. He put all that stuff in there. So
Right.
he was real about himself as well. So Scotty got a lot of shine. If you really look at it, Scotty got a lot of shine in the last dance. It wasn't the shine maybe he wanted, but guess what, Scotty?
Yeah, he looked dumb.
People saw you and the way you saw yourself were completely different. And that's why you
That's
mad,
right.
because now
That's
that you
right.
looking at yourself, you're like, oh yeah, because I mean,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
got played for a long time.
A
He made
long time.
way less money than he should have made, but that wasn't Mike's
Right.
fault. Mike didn't sign the
Mm-mm.
checks. Mike didn't get
Right.
paid like that. You know what I'm saying? Mike got a lot of his money from other stuff. He didn't get his money from the team.
Yeah.
So I
Until
mean,
the end. Yeah.
yeah, I think Scotty's a little salty about that. And I mean, I guess I can understand it if I was in his situation, but at the same time, you did get a lot of shine. It's just the situation behind the scenes is like, dang, Scotty.
Bro.
And
It's
see,
decisions.
yeah,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, you good. That's actually where I was going with it. Like, you gotta be smarter than to let the things that happen upset you when you know it's the truth. Whether you like to see it or
Mm-hmm.
not, you know that those things really happen. There's no lies in there. Everybody's laid out at the last dance, good or bad.
Right.
Everybody's laid out. Like you said, a lot of people look bad at least to a degree. But
Right.
the thing is,
Yeah.
that's the stories behind what made the last dance as great as it was.
Um, like I go back, he had his chance, and
Hmm.
he made a bad decision about his contract, which he thought it was a good. He made a bad decision sitting on that bench.
Yep, and waiting to get that surgery.
If you would have went out there, that would have made your claim. And truth be told, I hate to say this, it would have been Scottie Pippen, coach's team, and when nobody even would have been thinking about Michael Jordan. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, by them losing, you watch the Last Dance. That's some of the reasons why Michael started coming back, because he felt
Hmm.
like made them look bad. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like he said, he watched. I remember him saying, "I watched the game," and I was like, "Oh man, what's going
Yep.
on?" I think he got a phone call or something like that. But even when I watched that, Michael did not look good. Even when he was sitting there drinking, his eyes was brown. He was sitting there drinking his drink,
Tequila.
Yeah.
right? And and I'm sitting there like I said, he don't look like he. It almost looked like he was like, this book might be that for Pippen, where he was putting his soul out there. This was the good, bad, and the ugly of this whole situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even though, and I'm not Pippen ain't wrong, B. Like he might have put that out for because everybody was blowing that up about the Cavs winning, and it was something great. But he was like, "Hey, we went through this great situation too, so it is what it is." But he gotta he's got to let that go. Hopefully, after this book, he will.
Yeah, yeah, he's gonna have to, like you said, because you hope so. But yeah, but just I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, it is just a trip of how even because this documentary is almost 2 years old. I
Yeah.
mean, in
He's really
theory,
acting like a Robin. If you really know anything about Batman and Robin, Robin was a little boy that whined all the time, and
yep,
he's
And
acting just like a Robin.
like a
yep,
Robin. Yes,
yep,
sir. And
yep.
the funniest thing about the Last Dance that I always say, there is one more person that they made look good in the Last Dance. They tried not to, but they did, and that was Isaiah Thomas. Because they tried to
Mm-hmm.
spin the narrative about how they walked off. But then when you
Mm-hmm.
listen to the fact that they were like, hey, Boston did the same thing to us. And then when
Mm-hmm.
you come to the dream team and you don't include Isaiah Thomas, right? And then you interview like Scottie Pippen and a couple of people, and nobody ever really says it, but everybody kind of alludes to Mike and Magic were the reasons that he won on that team. So you were so
Mm-hmm.
intimidated by Isaiah Thomas that you didn't want him on the dream team. That's how I'm intimidated you. You wanted Christian Leitner instead.
Right.
Right.
You didn't make
Yeah.
yourself look good there. And that was really the
Yeah.
whole dream team looked like some punks and some suckers. And but that particular segment, they looked like some suckers.
Right.
Some people saying they wanted Shaq to be there.
But they got
Y'all remember
Christian
that?
Leitner.
And they
Yeah,
got
Yeah,
but
I
they
Christian
got
remember
Leitner.
Christian Lane.
Yeah. Yeah. And now he's in the Hall of Fame because of that.
that's crazy. That's like
Yeah,
Nick
Chris is
Foles
such
being
a
a Hall of Fame
Carolina
because of
guy.
one season.
Right. Yeah. He'll be in Canton. He'll
Yeah,
be in Canton
Chris is
just for
such a
that season.
Carolina guy. You say Christian Laettner, his whole back just pop, 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 pop.
Yeah,
That
Dude,
Carolina.
damn
Yeah.
Dookie.
dude,
Yeah.
under my hat, my hair is just curling up more, just upset because you said Christian Leitner.
I
And
know,
I
right? I
said
was
it.
just like,
It still made myself mad.
I
You know what I'm
know. I
saying?
was
But
like, that's a bad word around these parts.
yeah,
Hey,
man,
they should do a
good
show.
dirty
You know how
words.
they got What If? They got the show What the animated What If. They
Hmm.
should do a What If with like situations like what if Scotty actually went in there and they hit the shot, like how everything might have changed since then. You know what I
What if
mean?
Isaiah Dream Team?
Right.
Yeah.
What if Isaiah was on the Dream Team? Right.
Yeah. What if he
You
was
know
on
what I
that
mean?
ring team? A lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff I would do that
There's a lot.
for.
Yeah, that would be kind of a slick
If
show. You know what I mean?
if Christian
But he
Leitner missed
deserved
that
that
shot
more
against
than
Kentucky.
John Stockton. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, yeah, that's a lot of guys that and then, like you said, it did make Isaiah Thomas look like a good guy, and
Hmm.
that's and for a Michael Jordan centric type of documentary, that's definitely fascinating because now we looked at Isaiah as a victim because now he's in that bastard of the league, and
Oh, that's great.
and
I
he,
would like to know what he's saying. I would like to know what he's saying about this quote because he was always saying that Scottie Pippen was
Oh,
the
he
one
did.
that they really was. He always say that. He
yep,
always say. He said, "Man, it was Scottie Pippen. That was the one that we was in practices and the film room watching and blah blah blah." You know what I mean?
yeah,
I would love to hear what has to say about this.
but yeah,
Yeah, I did
so
watch one interview where Isaiah Thomas they asked him about Scottie Pippen saying how he should build a team, and he said, and Isaiah Thomas said, "That's one thing if Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird don't want me on the team,
Mm.
but Scottie Pippen gonna try to say I shouldn't be on the dream team and you should." Scottie
exactly,
Pippen gonna try to act like he's better than me.
Who?
I was like, "Oh, you right though. You right.
you're right though.
Yeah,
Shoot.
you right."
Yeah, you can't. You're right. I'm a Chicago legend, son. You third fiddle in
You
my
know what I'm
city.
saying? You ain't even
Third.
Robin when they bring me up. Mike might be
Exactly.
first, but I'm definitely second. You third at best.
Right.
Yes.
I had
Right.
nightmares about Scottie Pippen's family because they all look alike, like the town of Pippins. And I was like,
Bruh, yeah. That was crazy.
And then speaking of
I had
that,
to agree with you, but that was crazy. That was crazy.
right, right. And then what killed me was, and that's another thing too. And then lost at Pippen. Remember the day after, I think episode 1 or 2, and she was like, "Well, we was never broke. Ain't nobody talk about that y'all broke now. You were just underpaid. This is the
Yeah.
'90s, and you getting paid like what like $1 million a season?
Yeah,
Like,
he took that so he would have the security for his family. And I mean, it doesn't mean you
Yeah,
were broke like you didn't have nothing. It just mean like
exactly.
there's a lot of
He
y'all
just get the big
and you weren't
contract.
living like other people were. Yeah, come on, man.
Right. And that's why I hated when Pippen said that. I'm like, we know that he won't pour. Like
Hmm.
you said, and that was another, and that's why it was good to bring and I give Jordan his credit where he bought that point because Scotty went through a lot of tragic stuff in his
Hmm.
family. So you look at that type of stuff, he wanted that long-term security. So that's what he deemed what was right for him because you think about it, all that family troubles that he had, prior to him, going to the league. So that makes sense for kind of why I did. So I think, like you said, it just like you said, can't cool your point where it just portrayed people in their true light, and some people just didn't like how their light was portrayed at that during that time, and that's what it
Yep.
is. And
Yep.
that's to sum that up, where Scotty, it is what it is. But I'm glad that Jordan and the directing team did point out those different angles for these players, which I thought that was a good thing. Where how like the Last Dance kind of culminated with everybody because everybody was at a certain point in their life. So
Hmm.
I mean, it was great. It was great. We looked at it as Jordan as the main character, but there was still some intricate pieces that made that team interesting in the documentary interesting. So but
Oh yeah.
yep. So talk a little NBA, fellas. Let's talk about some NBA